Harbor dredging is the removal of sediment and debris from the body of water in order to increase that water body's depth.
The main application for harbour dredging is to modify and create deeper ports. This means a greater number of larger and more efficient trade ships can have access to an area, stimulating production growth for the economy while also leading to other investment opportunities. Harbour dredging can provide many economic and social benefits for a local area.
The biggest macroeconomic benefit resulting from harbor dredging was the development of seaports, which historically have been one of the most significant drivers of economic growth. The development of ports has led to the creation of international commerce and trade, which has shaped today's global economy. Trade occurs because each country has access to a finite number of scarce resources. Countries with a comparative advantage in producing a good or resource can exchange with countries who have a comparative advantage in producing another good or resource. Comparative advantage simply refers to who has a lower opportunity cost in producing a given good or resource. If each country exports goods or resources it has a comparative advantage in producing and imports goods or resources it does not have a comparative advantage in producing, then consumption would be maximized. In essence, that is why trade occurs. It is simply more efficient to trade than to not do so. Trade makes everyone better off. As previously stated, harbors are dredged to increase the water depth and allow bigger ships carrying more goods to move freely. The goods or resources being carried on these ships are ultimately sold. The sale of goods and resources provides income for individuals, businesses, and governments in the form of direct transactional sales revenue and tax revenue. As more income is received, a greater amount of savings, investment, and consumption takes place by individuals, businesses, and governments. More savings and investment means greater GDP growth, since GDP is comprised of consumption, investment, government purchases, and net exports. All four of the GDP components are impacted directly by trade and indirectly by harbor dredging. Jobs are created as a result of GDP growth. Jobs mean income, and income means consumption as well as tax revenue for the government. While there are many economic benefits stemming from harbor dredging, not all are positive. There are some negative externalities associated with harbor dredging. Deeper harbors bring larger ships, which means more noise, pollution, and traffic in the surrounding areas.
Harbor dredging causes a number of environmental damages. Water quality decreases are often the result of dredging as contaminants get released from the sediment and into the drinking water supply. Benthos and habitats such as coral reefs are often destroyed as a result of the dredging process. This can have a negative effect on local communities, especially those dependent on aquatic life for economic activity.
The physical destruction of the ocean floor or riverbed during the process can also have costly effects on the ecosystem. Damages due to this are not only confined to the natural environment, as the destruction of local habitats can negatively affect and possibly destroy commercial and recreational fishing industries, leading to a loss of economic output. Poor or incorrect disposal of waste materials can also be the cause of environmental damage to surrounding areas. However, dredged material is increasingly being regarded as a resource rather than a waste, and using sand and gravel for applications in construction, coastal protection, and even habitat development are many ways of trying to improve the sustainability of dredging.
Now let's look at a real-world case study of Charleston Harbor. Charleston Harbor is currently being dredged to expand its shipping channel from 45 feet to 52 feet. This will bring an estimated 2 million additional cargo containers through a port which currently sees over $60 billion of goods traveled through it each year. The total cost to dredge Charleston Harbor will be $509 million. Another $5 million has been set aside to preserve 15,000 acres of land around the Cooper River. The benefit-cost ratio is projected to be 3.79 to 1. This indicates that the money being spent on the project will create nearly $4 in benefits for every dollar that's spent.
Savannah Harbor will be dredged to increase the depth from 42 feet to 47 feet at a cost of $652 million. Dredging the river will stir up toxic cadmium which will be dumped in Jasper County. $30 million is needed to relocate the drinking water supply resulting from the increase in toxicity. Dredging will also increase the river's saltwater intake from the Atlantic upstream, negatively impacting the river's freshwater ecosystem. Dredging will also cause a dramatic decrease in oxygen levels. To account for some of this harm, the river will be reoxygenated at an initial cost of $72 million and $1.2 million in perpetuity after that. While there are large costs associated with dredging, there will also be some economic benefits such as job growth. 6,100 state and local jobs are expected to be created by the dredging process. The local and state governments will also benefit from increased revenues resulting from the newly dredged harbor ships' capacity. The Army Corps of Engineers have estimated the dredging of Savannah River to have a net benefit of $174 million and a benefit cost ratio of 5.5 to 1.